What's up, guys? It's the phenomenal AJ Styles, and you're listening to the Dave and Creech Show.
This is the Dave and Creech Show, the only podcast where podcaster CJ Creech and actor Dave Sheridan come together to talk all things entertainment with your favorite entertainers. Want to ask our guests a question? Tweet them to @DaveSheridan or @CJCNOV88, and they may be asked to our guests live on the show. We do have to ask you stay seated during the podcast because this ride may get a little bit hilarious. Now here's your hosts, Dave and Creech.
Hey everybody out there, welcome to episode 6 of the Dave and Creech Show.
Episode
As
6.
usual, he is
And
Dave
you're
Sheridan.
Creech. That's all we know.
I am like Seal, I only have one name, and my name is Creech.
This is our first. I'm just so glad that we finally got to get together in the same room and have our studio finally set up, that I got a chance to, come to you in South Carolina there, and now we're sitting face to face in person like this, and we're really moving up, man. What are we in episode 6 here? And only took us 6 episodes to finally get to a point where now we've got some decent audio. Then we're going to have some, you know what I mean? The guests are going to be coming in soon, and I don't know what else we could be adding, more sidekicks maybe, and some sponsors. And we need a chick. We need a chick that giggles a lot.
Yes, and like we were talking about in the past podcast, we need to get a 14-year-old boy who knows more about pop culture than we do.
That's right. That's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea. There's this kid, Sam. He's mingling. He's a really good go-getter. I think he's maybe 14 now, but he's a friend of mine on Twitter there. And, he makes his own films and edits and stuff. And I definitely see that kid going somewhere, when he's like 20, 18, because he's already doing stuff that I didn't start doing until I was 23, so he's writing and shooting his movies and making stuff. You're there, right?
Yep, I'm here.
I heard some weird noise. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, that was me hitting my mic. I'm still not used to actually talking with a mic on my head.
See, I'm holding a snowball. Do you know what a snowball looks like?
I know what the weather snowball looks like.
Well, that's what this looks like. It looks like a wiffle ball, basically. It's a microphone. They sell them at Best Buy. They're made by Blue. They sell them at Best Buy. They're a relatively inexpensive mic, but they actually sound good because I think they have a limiter inside of it and a little preamp inside the microphone and everything. And it's a large diaphragm microphone. So, but I'm holding it, and then I also have the little wind screen popper thing in front of me. So, and I'm sitting in my office here, and but I'm holding it up like I'm sort of like a David Koresh or Jim Jones sort of talking to his followers. You know what I'm saying? So I'm actually holding the mic in my hand. You're wearing the mic headset, which I have somewhere. I think I look
like I'm getting ready to take some sort of inbound calls at a call center right now.
You're definitely you are definitely your face is at the bottom of a magazine cover smiling. You know what I mean? Hey, call Screech I said Screech. That's mental from this week Rusty was doing that stuff on Twitter where she was pretending to think it was Screech, Dave and Screech instead of Dave and Creech. It was a good job. She's so excited. She said, I got you 20 more listeners, right? She said, I got you 20 more listeners. Hey, I have to figure out a way to did you hear that? Were you able to hear my little email alarm thing?
I didn't.
Okay, that's good. I heard it's kind of annoying, so I'm going to see how I shut that down.
I tried figuring that out on my end too, because I was like, well, what if the notifications pops up?
Well, that's what I did. I guess you got to turn off a bunch of notifications, but how about that? How about my grandfather clock?
Yes, I heard those.
It's 9:30, so that's just probably one time. In a half hour, we're going to hear that thing ring 10 times because I'm literally stuck in my office and I've got, I got to keep it quiet because kids are sleeping. The family's asleep. Not a creature was stirring except for Dave and Creech podcast. So, yeah, where were we? Oh, 20 new listeners. We've got 20 new followers from Rusty accidentally thinking that it was Creech or that it was Screech instead of Creech, right?
Yes,
And, so
I'm not Dustin Diamond that I know of.
No, you have been arrested about the same amount of time, and you both. What else? What do you have in common with Screech?
I don't know. That's a good question. We both have facial hair. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, he's a short or like kind of like a skinny, lanky dude, and I'm kind of the opposite of that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I've seen a picture. First of all, he's in jail, so I
might be buff now.
Yeah, he's not that skinny anymore. And I don't know if he's
got
short.
That prison bod.
He's probably like 6'2", probably. You know what I mean? He was always he always seemed like he was tall. But yeah, now he's got a prison bod. I mean, now he's screeching in a whole new way now there on Cell Block G at 2 a.m. with Leroy, head of the cell block, making a little night visit. He's like, I'm going to hear you screech now, motherfucker. Oh, yeah. You ain't going to get saved by the bell now. Warden, what was the principal's name? Belding?
Yeah, Mr. Belding.
What if where he's in prison, the warden's last name was Belding? That'd be hilarious. Oh, the warden.
What if it was that?
It's Belding. And he's like, well, I know it's not the actor. I know that actor, and he is not a warden. He's still acting. Although I don't know his name offhand. I've hung out with him. I've actually performed with him on stage. I'm just drawing a blank on his name. Dennis Haskins. Dennis Haskins. That's kind of funny that I just kind of like sort of parodied the Beaver thing. I said the role of, right, Mr. Belding would be played by, and then the name is Dennis Haskins, which totally sounds like a character from Leave It to Beaver, doesn't it? Oh, Dennis Haskins is coming. Oh, Dennis Haskins is coming over. Beav, I don't really want you hanging out with Dennis Haskins. He just sounds like that sounds like a Leave It to Beaver name, Dennis Haskins. That can't be a real name. Because wasn't there Eddie Haskell? Oh, it's Eddie Haskell. That was a great last name. That's a good writer's. Those writers came up with a good name. Eddie Haskell totally sounds like a kid that's a troublemaker. Eddie Haskell.
Yeah, they do, and that's definitely a lot better names than I come up with. I'm so inventive. I've got like John Smith and Jane Doe.
I like looking up. Here I am looking up. Since we looked that up and we did the whole Saved by the Bell, which ran from 1989 to 1993. I mean, that thing is ripe. That's like right there in pop culture. That's right in the pop culture armpit right now. You know what I mean? 89, 93. That is like a perfect, this is a 21 Jump Street and they're redoing Baywatch right now. They're making Baywatch a movie. So Saved by the Bell is somehow perfect for some sort of, redo in some way. But here's what's funny about it. If you look at people that were on the show that were like, nobodies, you've got Christine Taylor played Heather Brooks. Tori Spelling was Violet Bickerstaff. You've got Casper Van Dien was student number 1, uncredited. Michael Jai White, you know him as Urkel, right? He played military policeman number 2. So you got a lot of actors that, Eddie Griffin was Ollie, right? It's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah. It apparently started a lot of careers for a lot of actors.
Leah Remini was Stacy Carossi. You know who Leah Remini is? She's the
King of Queens.
King of Queens, yeah.
I loved that show.
Oh, here's one that I didn't know. Mark Paul Gosselaar was a guy named Zach Morris. Played a role. That's a joke.
Yeah, he's like the main character.
Yeah, he's the main guy. Oh wow, I didn't know that. Oh man, here. Oh yeah. Oh, did you know that guy that's on Entertainment Tonight? Mario Lopez. He played a role of AC Slater.
AKA the guy who always wore the really tight, skinny shirts.
He's the only one that looks like he hasn't aged. You know, he's
at all.
Yeah, he's definitely like injecting himself with like, you know, aborted fetus DNA or whatever they put in there. What's that? It's stem cell crap. You know what I mean? The stem cell stuff.
Yeah.
He's on a black market, just getting, you know, baby stem cells put into him and soaking in placenta. What? Oh, I said placenta. I meant placenta. He's taking placenta baths. That's kind of gross.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, granted, his Jerry curl went away, but he seemed to have absorbed that into muscle mass now.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. I mean, well, obviously people sprayed their hair for Jerry curls to have more curls, but just in general, it seemed like curlier, tighter curls were kind of there. Maybe the humidity in the air was just a slight different stuff, or there might have been a little bit more like oxygen level to just make everyone's hair a little bit more 80s and curlier back then. And now with all the pollution, we're slowly just, our hair is all just getting, you know, unlively and straight and just kind of flat. You know, everyone's got this kind of flatty, straight hair now, but really it's just air pollution that's causing it. Not like a trend, not a fashion statement. I don't know. That's where I'm going with that. Who knows? But so anyway, let's jump into all the fun stuff. My phone is going to die in a minute, but luckily we're on a microphone. We are not. Actually, Rusty just texted me. Let's see. She's got another one up her sleeve.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Let's see. She wants to try to. She wants to gain us some more viewers by mistakenly thinking that I'm in 50 Shades of Gray versus 50 Shades of Black. So she's going to start to jam that out. 50 Shades of Darkness. It might work. She's very creative. She's very supportive.
And very committed, yeah.
Committed.
Definitely.
Committed is a very good word when you are describing Rusty. Committed. In more ways than one. She's committed. I'm only kidding, Rusty. I'm sure she's listening for her 5th time. So
in the same hour.
Exactly. Even though it's more than an hour long, somehow she can do it. We might as well start there. 50 Shades of Black is still out in the theaters. It's doing okay. Where are we at? We're at like 11 or 12 million worldwide right now. That's not bad. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
It was a $5 million movie. You got to understand the movie cost $5 million. It looks a lot better than $5 million, and it looks a lot funnier. It is much funnier than the commercials and the trailers set it out to be, in my opinion. I don't think they really focused on laying out the funniest aspects of the movie. I think they tried to stay closer to trying to set it up as a parody of 50 Shades of Grey. And so the ad campaigns were out to mimic 50 Shades of Grey versus really trying to balance itself as, hey, this is a comedy and we're going to show you some ballsed out funny material. And there's definitely plenty of balls out, lots of balls out in that movie. As you know,
yes,
you saw it.
There is a lot of balls in that movie.
A lot of balls, a lot of shaft.
And it's got over 9.5 million domestically and a little over 2.2 million foreign. So we're looking at about 11.7 million right now.
And here's something to keep in mind, and this is sort of changing the subject and maybe getting too serious for all of our viewers, but that's something to keep in mind about foreign and what drives casting and what drives markets. And so let's just go back to the domestic right now. Let's just say we're at 10 million. The movie cost 5 million. So this film has already doubled its budget. So now on a movie that costs $50 million, like the Will Ferrell movie, Who's Your Daddy or Daddy's Home, that was a $50 million comedy, and I think it's made 160 domestically at this point. So it's tripled its money, which is pretty good. If 50 Shades of Black ends up at 15 million in the box office over its whole run, well, then that did triple its shooting budget. And that's a success. And it's definitely earns money. Obviously, it earns less money, but it's, investors just look at money back by percentage. If you got 50% profit, if you profited 150% of your investment, people look at that as good. Doesn't matter either way, because whether you're getting, 15 cents on a nickel or $1.25 on 50 cents, it's in investors' eyes, it's the same amount of percentage profit. So percentage is always what's more important than the actual dollar amount, because, it's a marathon and there's a long way to keep earning and earning money. What you don't want to do is lose money. You don't want to lose investors' money. You want to make money, even if it's, as long as you're in profit on any way, then you will be allowed to keep, going into business for some of these investors. But when you go and look at the foreign earnings of 50 Shades of Black, it's 2.2 million or something like that, right? 3 million. And that is really low when you consider that's the rest of the world. The rest of the entire world is only 20% of what you've earned.
Yes, that was our economics class, our film economics class for the episode.
Yeah, right? Oh, there's one at 9:45. I didn't know this grandfather clock goes off every 15 minutes. This is great. I tried to come in here so it's quiet, but literally we have I feel like I'm Cinderella having to run out fairly soon before I turn into, I guess turn back into Cinderella. She didn't really turn into anything, did she?
No, I don't. I
lost
have
her
a
dress.
little daughter, and I have not. I don't remember anything about that movie.
Nothing really happened to Cinderella. She just lost her dress. Her dress, I guess fell apart or whatever at that certain time. But the shoes stayed, which was weird. Why wouldn't the shoes go back? And then, but everything else turned back. It was like her carriage went back to a pumpkin. Her carriage men were like mice and lizards and what have you, et cetera, et cetera. They got the real raw end of the deal, right? What happened to them? Nothing. She got to marry a prince. Did they get to go back to being human? No, they got nothing.
They got to go back to
they got eaten
hoping
probably
that they
at the wedding.
Yeah, that they don't get eaten. I guess the next one we can talk about is the contest that's going on. Just once again plugging that the contest is live to win a personalized autograph from you on your Facebook.com/Dave Sheridan official page. And yeah, so just everybody keep entering. I think the last day is this Sunday, if I remember correctly.
Is Facebook the most viable place to promote these kind of things? You feel like that's because it's more of people are on a lot of people get on Facebook while they're on their laptop or on their desktop, right? Or the bigger screen, so they can fill out things. But people are on Twitter mostly, or Snapchat, or Instagram. Those aren't the kind of places that you promote a contest, you're saying, or people are on their phone.
You can.
And that stuff, right?
You can with Instagram and stuff. Then you just have to bombard it with all of the hashtags to get people who may be scrolling through those hashtags to say, "Oh, there's hashtag contest. Let me go see what this is." Hashtag free. Oh, let me see what's free.
Oh, you're going to get a real class act there if people are trolling for hashtag free. Ah, man, darn, I was looking for a toilet. I'll take the Dave Sheridan poster, I guess. Man, we were really hoping for an outdoor grill, a used outdoor grill, looking for someone that was tossing that out on the curb. That's why I've been scrolling hashtag free. It's going to come up one of these days. We left the grill out there. The rear projection TV. My dad,
the old school big one.
Man, my dad, he thought he saw something on. Are you familiar with Your Neighbor? Do you know yourneighbor.com?
I don't.
Yourneighbor.com is, I'm giving away a little secret here for anyone that's not on it. You won't be able to get on it. It's a private site. It's a invite only. So you have to be invited to be on it. And it's kind of like a little like you're only going to get people in your neighborhood. That's it's not like Facebook where it's like, oh my gosh, everyone in the nation, I can see everyone. You could only see people in your neighborhood. And you got to be invited into the website by somebody. I don't know how you first get on it. That's the funny thing, because you have to be invited by someone in your neighborhood. So someone in your neighborhood has to start it. Do you know what I mean? Like
you have to go start knocking door to door and like, hey, are you on my neighborhood? Can you totally send me an invite?
No. I don't think somebody has to knock on it, but I'm saying somebody, if you, I guess you can Google when you're on your neighbor, you can look up your neighborhood by its name. And if your neighborhood's not on it, then it probably says start a neighborhood. And then you start the neighborhood, the name of the neighborhood. Let's just say Rob Scott Manor or something like that. And then you invite your neighbors because you have their emails, whoever you have, and then they'll send it to the next people. So it comes in your email. You've been invited to your neighbor, and then you have to show on there. You have to show some, like bills from your house to prove that you're in that neighborhood. That's you. So you got to show like your electric bill or your gas bill or a cell phone bill or cable bill
and
or
your social
like
security.
Nah, I don't know if they go that far. I don't know.
Your firstborn.
And then basically it's just one giant garage sale, localized Craigslist. So, but he came running in one night and just saying somebody down the street is getting rid of their 55-inch rear projector TV. We got to go down there and get that 55 inches. And I was like, no, it's rear projection. That, you know how big that thing is? It's like, I go, that's the kind of thing they have at like a pizza place. You know what I mean? Like it's like the old pizza parlors and stuff that would rear projection. Those are huge TVs, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, those. My dad had one of those rear projection, huge, like a 60-inch TV, and he kept it until way past it should have been put out to pasture. Like, all of the color was pretty much drained out. Everything was pretty much just shades of orange.
Yeah, the color.
He was like, he was like, it's still good. It still works. I can see the image. I was like, there's not much of an image left now.
But it's 60,
eventually,
but it's a 60-inch image of nothing left. You have to understand, it's quality. It's not quality. It's quantity. We're talking quantity here at this point. This is 60 inches of an orange Gilligan's Island. Okay. At the end of the day, it is Gilligan. I mean, you have to understand what your dad was watching at the time, or my father-in-law, like, I wonder what, it doesn't really, if he's watching old black and white, Red Skelton movies, it's like, I guess it doesn't matter if it bleeds orange and the other thing about those side projection, the rear projection, television, you couldn't see them from the side. If you were sitting off to a little angle, you really wouldn't have a good view. It wouldn't actually show up, so.
Exactly. Well, eventually my dad's TV died, and he had to join the HD revolution, so to speak, and get a 60-inch HD TV. Yeah.
It all happens eventually. I think my parents still have I think they have a 25-inch television, like a pretty big tube RCA beastie thing, but it's 25 inches. That was big at one point. That was like, oh, wow, 25 inches. Now that's just, there's porn stars bigger than that nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything gets bigger.
Yeah, 25 inches is like one of the smaller size TVs nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, boy, it's 10 o'clock. I have 2 hours to get back to my stepmother's house. Oh, but the prince hasn't danced with me yet. Should we just wait? How bad is this?
I mean, this doesn't sound too bad. I mean, you can hear it, but it's not like you can't hear you talking over it. It kind of adds to it.
It adds to it.
I feel like it could be like a running joke throughout.
Oh, yes, Creech. For tonight is
like
the night.
I can put in for the chapters on this one. Bell goes off on each one.
This is the 10 o'clock chapter, the witching hour. Welcome to the Dave and Creech show. It didn't even sound like that was 10 big bells, but who the hell likes grandfather clocks? They're big and annoying, man. They like, you're sitting there at midnight and the thing's going off 12 times at midnight. You're trying to sleep. The whole house is ringing. The heck is this?
Exactly.
It's just a giant piece of furniture. It's heavy as hell. And it's sort of like, I have a clock on my iPhone. Why do I need this thing that weighs 1,000 pounds sitting in my living room right now?
That is a good question.
I don't quite understand it, but it's here. And at this point, it's so big you can't even get it out, But somebody may find it when you scroll #free. You may find that grandfather clock out at the curb.
Or on neighbors.com.
Yeah, your neighbor. Yourneighbor.com.
Yourneighbor.com. There we go.
It's great. It's a great site. I love it. It can be. I haven't been on there in a while, but it's a definitely fun site to just kind of. You can't troll. You can't troll on it because you are your neighbor. I am on there. You can't have a fake name. You're on there as Dave Sheridan with your address, with your phone number, with everything. You know what I mean? And so there's so many times I just want to troll these people because they say the dumbest shit. But, I have to be nice. So
I know. See, that would kind of suck because that's like my favorite thing about Craigslist. Just, I don't have much time to do it anymore, but just going on there and just scrolling through the ads and just randomly like responding to people with the most insane things. I remember one time there was some lady, it was in the class or the woman looking for a man, and she was like, must have a recent picture.
Wait, you got to stop there. Hold on, Creech. You just were randomly in the Craigslist section for women looking for men.
No, because it's the best. It's the best.
I swear, Dave, I wasn't looking. I wasn't trying to get a date.
No. Like I actually, if you were to go on your Facebook, you could go back. Like I actually posted it right after I did it too, because when you go to like the personals, it's the best thing to troll people with because they're always like so desperate that they'll believe anything you say. They have like they have like the weirdest. I don't. If you don't like dogs, or if you like dogs, then don't message me or stuff like that. Please don't send me pictures of yourself naked or stuff like that. So like one of the ones I had responded to was this lady. She was like, you must send a recent picture. And so I responded back. I was like, "Hey, you seem pretty cool and everything. Would a recent mugshot work?" And she just didn't even want to respond to that.
I wonder why.
So I found a picture of I believe it was Nick Nolte and just sent that to her.
Oh, that's a shame. No, I would say this. Don't take this the wrong way. By the way, I'm very comfortable with my heterosexual. I personally, I can get into my stand-up on, me wishing I was gay. Trust me, I wish I was able to be gay because there's tons of gay guys out there, but I don't go that way, unfortunately. But here's the thing, I do research a little bit, just like you. So I have been on the women looking for men on the Craigslist, right?
Yeah.
And what I found. And I only skimmed through like maybe 5 or 6 of them one time, and they're very desperate, like you're saying, and but not in a funny way, like a kind of a sad way. And I think the thing is, it's free. Is it free to be on Craigslist and do that?
It is.
So this is free. This is what I got out of it while I was looking. Was these are people that they're at a level where they don't want to pay, they're not going to pay for like a dating site, and they certainly don't want to, and they don't really qualify for a Tinder. They're not good looking enough for the Tinder, and they're not good looking, it's like they don't have it all together for, what are those other ones? eHarmony, because honestly,
farmersonly.com.
Right. Cause they're damaged. Well, maybe they could go for Farmers Only, but they're, I'm not saying they're damaged women or whatever, but they were divorced women with kids. They were a little heavy, but I read their things and they just want companions. They weren't like looking to hook up. It wasn't like Match.com, as we used to call it. You know what I mean? Which was just like a hookup site where people want to just like pretend to go on a date and then just bang, right? This was, these women on the Craigslist were serious people, like women that are lonely, and they were looking for, they were just looking for company, like chat, like, you know, just to have someone to talk to. And that struck me as very, that was kind of sad. It was a little sad that, you know, that they have to kind of get on the Craigslist to do that. Because that shows a little, like, that just shows where they're at. It's very difficult because they're working jobs. They were single moms and they're working and they got to get home and get their kids. So when they don't have time to go out and socialize and stuff. So, and they've probably already run through all that because a lot of these were in small towns, and, you know, there's only so, you're not going to meet a husband material at a bar. You know, it ain't going to happen. So
at least not one that won't throw you down the steps a couple of times.
Exactly. And you're not going to meet husband material at a church setting because those guys are probably married. They're probably married. And if they're not married and they're going to a church, then there might be a little off. They might be a little freaky. If they're going to like Bible reading stuff and they're not married, then there's something off. So it's difficult. It's a difficult thing for women, especially to navigate. Now, here's the thing. Just for shits and giggles, I'm telling you this, absolute truth. But I wanted to just see what the gay dating thing was like on that same side. And it couldn't be more the opposite. Now, this is stand-up material here. All it was pictures of guys.
Pictures of wieners.
It was just pictures of wieners. And literally it was guys saying, I will suck you in a parking lot right now. Text me. I mean, it was like that, like, it was that shockingly different. And I was like, what the heck? You know, and I was like, nothing against nothing, but like, they couldn't be more different. You got to go on there and look at the women seeking men. It was like divorced women, kids. They were heavy, saying, this is what I'm into. I just want to talk to somebody, looking for a friend. And the other one was just a picture of a wiener going, I will suck you off in the Best Buy parking lot in 15 minutes if you meet me as soon as you text. You know what I mean? Looking for someone to stick this in. It was just like, what the hell? But that's the problem. I mean, here's the thing. It's like, you know, there's no heterosexual sites. I guess, I don't know. Maybe there are heterosexual sites that can be like that, but that's just not going to work. That ain't going to work with women. You know what I mean? Women are not going to say like, oh shit, like, oh no, he'll just want to stick that, you know, oh, I'm cool with going to the Best Buy parking lot and just.
Well, like another thing.
Hey, by the way, so if you want to troll someone, don't troll those women. Troll those gay guys. They could, dude, you could. That's much funnier. Like telling the guy, "Yeah, I'm already down here." Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Bojangles parking lot. I'm sorry, man. No. Come over. I'm still here.
Well, I like one of the things I like on the women. Some of them are like, you know, no cock shots. So like then I automatically send them a picture of a rooster.
All right,
just various
go play with go tool on those the guys putting their own penis shots on the thing. Don't tool.
And then I had to bring this one up. I actually saved this on my my favorites just because it was so funny. I like looking in like the random items for sale that they have because like sometimes people put like jokey stuff on there. And one of them, the one that I had to save because it was too amazing. I've got it pulled up, and it says it was on sale. It was a Magic Witch cook box. And it says, tired of cooking by leaving food out in the sun for hours on end? Don't have the time or patience to build a fire in your kitchen? Now you can cook your food with the power of witchcraft. At the moment, I possess an item of great power, approximately 1380 watts. By harnessing the power of Satan, this box uses voodoo magic to heat food very quickly. How do I know that it is powered by magic? Why else would the food be boiling lava hot in some places while frozen in others? Anyway, this evil spirit channeling device can be yours for the tidy sum of $60 or best offer. Mm-hmm. The runes engraved on this machine seem to tell me that the box was constructed by Sanyo in the year of our Lord 1996. EM5 F540WK seems to be some kind of model number, but I fear it may be a magic incantation. It's quite sizable in any case. You could easily fit a great number of sandwiches inside, provided you wanted those sandwiches heated up. Be warned that bread placed inside may become soggy. This is also clearly the work of evil spirits. If you are a brave soul, contact me and we can discuss a proper sacrifice to be offered in the ritual of exchanging ownership of this device.
So what is the device, man?
It was a microwave.
Oh, and so, wow. That's Craigslist?
That was Craigslist.
I got one right here. The good thing we have our computers open. It says
Exactly, right?
Craigslist gigs, right? I want to chase someone. I am seeking somebody who will let me chase them. Age and gender doesn't matter. You can be real old or a lady or black as long as you can go real fast. It doesn't matter where it happens, inside or outside, but you have to be fun to chase. You can't be on a bike because it's cheating. I want the chasing to last a long time, and I want to be sweaty, but I have to catch you in the end. If I don't catch you, then you won't get paid, but you can't let me catch you and be easy about it. If you do, you won't get paid. So after the chasing, you should say something to me like good running or you're very fast. Or give me a high five, one hand five, or both hands high five. Not because I told you to, but because you think it. Afterwards, you should post a picture of me on your Facebook and make the picture caption say, he caught me. Let me know. That's Craigslist gigs right now. So if you're into being chased, you make a little money there.
Exactly.
I'm gonna take a screen grab. I'll send that to you. Did you watch the Super Bowl?
I didn't. I actually was heading back from Atlanta.
That's
so,
right. That's right.
Yeah, so I didn't get to watch the Super Bowl.
And did your car made it back okay? Because I know you said you had to bring your car in.
Yeah, that car's no more.
It's no more.
It's no more.
What the heck happened?
I got a new car.
What the heck happened? What happened to the old car?
It just the tires just basically like the whole thing. I'm like the most unmechanically inclined person. But basically the wheels weren't even connected to the front end anymore, and they could have flown off at any moment. And yeah, so yeah, it was basically drivable.
It was not roadworthy anymore, you were saying, huh?
Legally, I could not get on the road with it. So yeah, I was like, well, okay, I need to go get a new car. So
are there bolts that hold a tire on, the lug nuts or whatever? So are you like so mechanically challenged that you're like, I don't know why my wheels keep falling off, and then there's no bolts on it, and the guy's like, nah, you got to get rid of that car, man. I'll take it off your hand. Yeah, no. Well, what about those things? You're talking about lug nuts? Those are expensive, bro. That's like $20,000. Nah, just give me your car. You buy a new one. Pick any car on the lot. I'll give it to you. I'll give you 10% off. But that car, the car you're driving, no way, man. You're going to need lug nuts. And that's unless you're Donald Trump, you're not getting lug nuts. That ain't happening. No, you can't get up. I'd say do not get back on that road. Those wheels will fall off. So is that what you're telling me? You're missing lug nuts?
No, it was more than lug nuts. But I don't know how especially how hilly Atlanta is, how those tires did not come off. But somehow they didn't.
You know that song, right? You picked a fine time to leave me loose wheel.
See, I knew it was bad when, normally if you go get work done, they're just like, okay, so what do I need done? They're like, okay, you need to get this, this, and this done. We suggest you get this done. The first thing that when they called me back, they were like, where are you? And I'm like, well, I'm down the road. Why? What's up? He's like, we need you to get here now. And I was like, okay. At that point, I knew, okay, obviously it can't be good because normally they tell you what's wrong with it and everything. And
Jeez, it's not like your car's like a dog or like your grandmother. Like, we didn't want to tell you that your dog we're going to have to put it down. Like, it's like, can't the guy just say, yeah, the car's screwed, but come over when you get a chance. Like, we need you to come here right now. Get here. Before we pronounce this car dead, we wanted to make sure that, if there's anything, last things you wanted to say, or, did you want to parallel park it or anything on the lot, before we pronounce it dead. Jeez, you have a real caring mechanic there. Get down here, stat. Hurry. We've got it hooked up to jumper cables, but we're going to have to unplug this car and pronounce it dead.
Yeah, that car is it is pretty much officially dead. I mean, granted, everything else in it was good, but I don't know. I mean, like, the insurance company was like, yeah, we're basically going to total this out. We're not going to, it's not going to be renewed for insurance. I was like, oh, I'm going to have to get a new car.
Well, at least
I did.
Totaled out. That's not bad. Maybe you get some money, right?
No, this car is not, like, the one I took wasn't very young. It was like almost 20-year-old car.
Right. So either way, then now you got a newer car, you're saying,
I could probably get, I could probably maybe from the insurance company, maybe $20 if I'm lucky for the car.
Usually you totaled it out. So you got the $20 maybe. So you bought a new car-ish.
Yes.
Another used car, basically.
Yes. I mean, it's 2013.
That's not bad.
And it's it only has like 38,000 miles on it. Well, what we could talk about, I think one of the last things, well, we have two things actually left to talk about. I'm just going to spitball one of them right now. First one would be Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, your documentary?
Did you get a chance to check it out?
Kevin Phoenix Rising. I did. I watched it. It's 44 minutes long, but the credits are like 3 minutes long. So it's really only about 40 minutes long, right?
Yeah,
I did. I watched it.
Roughly.
I watched it. You got some good footage there. You've got some good footage. I think it's a really cool story. It's all, you've got your Kevin Phoenix. It's mostly him in that interview. But what was the thing in the Myrtle Beach that he wrestled for?
That was C4W Wrestling. He was in the middle of a, I guess you could say, hotly contested rivalry with one of the guys from there, and that was basically the blow-off match. So we were there filming it.
What's a blow-off match?
Yeah, okay, that's probably horrible terminology to use right there, but basically,
I would say, first of all, we have to, hey, look. We don't know where these episodes are going. So obviously episode 6, we've talked about Craigslist, the gay guys on Craigslist. Now we've got the blow-off match, so we know where this themed is at. It's themed in a lot of ways, but hey, this is where they go. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of good. It's sort of like a herald, like improv herald. We have this one theme that kind of is intertwined and working itself through the thing. Lug nuts were mentioned. That's sort of provocative and homoerotic, I guess, in many ways. So anyway, the blow-off match. Tell me about Kevin Phoenix and the blow-off match. What was the guy? What was the bad guy? No, actually, he was the bad guy. So what was the good guy's name? That was the. I couldn't tell.
Kevin was the good guy.
Okay.
The bad guy's name was Chaos.
Well, wait a second, because you say that Kevin was the good guy, but he hit Chaos with a chair before Chaos even got into the ring. And Chaos is wearing a gas mask for his entry, right? With LED lights on the inside. The guy can't even see. And Kevin Phoenix comes up and smacks him down with a metal chair before he even got in the match. So good guys don't do that, dude. So I don't know. I'm a little confused of who the good guy was. I actually thought that at that point I was like, wait, is Chaos the bad guy? But continue on. What's the blow-off match? What is a blow-off match? I thought this was a title match. It looked like a big cage match thing for the title.
It was a cage match for the title, and also Kevin's career was on the line. And basically what all a blow-off match is it's the final match, and usually a series of matches, which is why they had the title and the career on the line. And after this, they would both go on to do other new storylines with different wrestlers.
Got it. Well, that's good to know a little inside lingo information there on what a blow-off match now is. And also, but you talked about that C4W or whatever it was called. What was it? CW4? What's that one?
C4W
Now,
wrestling, yes.
What's the 4 stand for, first of all?
You know, I never learned that because what I'd heard was it was supposedly they called it C4W Explosive Wrestling.
Okay,
so maybe C4.
Yeah, C4,
and then wrestling.
Yeah, right. But even in real C4, I don't know what the hell that stands for. I don't know what that means either. The guy that has the wrestling league, and then he's kind of like, I know it's an explosive, but C4. It's a plastic explosive compound, but I wonder what the 4 is with the C. You know, what the heck? Do you know? Carbonite 4? I don't know. Hey, so anyway, C4W at the end goes out of business. It's done. The league kind of collapses, right? And so in your documentary, I didn't really, that kind of came out of the nowhere with just some writing, you know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't mind that being sort of a little bit more of a focus, but I if you want, do you want me to critique your movie at all? Or do you feel like I should just say, hey man, it was really good and there's some good footage there. What do you want?
You can feel free to critique it. Definitely. Cause I eventually, I think I'm actually contracted to do multiple cuts. So I can always tweak it and add more.
Wait a second.
We shot enough footage for like 4 movies.
Wait, well, you're saying contracted? You're contracted by who? First of all, that sounds like you got
Kevin.
something. Oh, so Kevin contracted you to make this?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was paid. He paid me, and we contracted to do certain dates. I had to clear my schedule for certain wrestling events to make sure that I was there to record and document. It was definitely interesting doing.
Well, here's what I think.
Though.
I don't know. I don't know what his end result is or what he's looking to gain, because it sounds like then he was the one that is sort of behind making this. I thought this was you going, oh, I really want to make this thing. So this is more like you're kind of a gun for hire a little bit with it's Kevin's sort of baby of his promotional thing of I need footage. I need people to follow me around because I need to move up my career and have pieces put together and stuff, right?
Yes. Well, that and we had known each other a long time ago, so he was like, "Hey, I know you're doing this film stuff now.
I think there's
like to hire you."
Here's my critique. There's some really good footage. You got a lot of great footage, and if you say there's more footage, that's great because wrestling itself and that kind of like I wouldn't say behind the scenes is also very good, but just that kind of like a localized wrestling league that kind of like the wrestler. Remember the wrestler with
Mickey Rourke?
Yeah, exactly. And my friend made one. My friend Colt made one called Road Wrestling Diaries or Wrestling Road Diaries or something like that. Colt Cabana. That one's probably online somewhere. Kind of reminded me a little bit more now because I followed him around to some local shows and stuff. You've got some great footage. And so if you get more good footage, then you can keep telling the story. I do think that it was, it really is sort of not a completed documentary the way I watched it. And I think that there's probably more of a story there, but it needs just more added to it and more footage and more, when he's sitting down with the guy talking at the table, you need to add more on top of all that. More, that more Ken Burns stuff. Get him to give you more photos, more and more photos, as many as you can get, and more footage, and keep reusing some of the wrestling footage. If you don't have more footage, overlap the talking. And I don't even know if you need that guy asking the questions anymore. You could just basically just move on to Kevin Phoenix, answering questions over visuals, kind of telling the story through his answers and not so much the interview guy asking the questions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think there's some great footage there. It's a nice peek inside the sort of underbelly of wrestling world that most people definitely even big fans of Raw and Monday Night Raw don't really take the time to go to these shows or to see the footage from these shows and understand how it all works. And that's why I thought I was kind of compelled with the C4W also going out of business at the end. And I thought the two of those things leading up could be good, of how these guys are sort of, they want their careers to move forward, but they're in a league that's teetering on bankruptcy. You know what I mean? Even though I wouldn't say bankruptcy is the real word, they just probably.
Well, for C4W, I would think that would be pretty close. I mean, we filmed in June or July,
right?
And they like, it was a shock to everybody. They just closed up shop and that like last October, without really any warning whatsoever. So yeah, it was a shock to everybody.
Well, the bottom line is there's some awesome footage there. And, like you said, most of it was from July in 2015 and October of 2015 and stuff like that. And so that was just last year. Yes. Documentaries take 5, 6, 7 years of, really gathering up footage and stuff. So I honestly think you're just scratching the surface on something bigger and better. I do think that he's a compelling character in the fact that he's kind of the black Southern, I love that story about when he first came out to Michael Jackson and people were like not into him and booing him and stuff. And then the promoter was like, you got a song? And he said, that one didn't work, but I don't know. What do you think? And then he kind of like pimped him a little bit. And basically he came out and it was the Dukes of Hazzard song and being like, what the fuck? I've never even seen Dukes of Hazzard. But then he kind of embraced that. It really kind of helped him create the Kevin Phoenix, Southern, the what was it called? The Southern Rebel?
Southern Rebel.
Yeah. And he's like, I don't even know what that means, but I think it's great. I think it's funny. So.
Yeah. And I mean, there was plenty of good stories. And Kevin's pretty good at telling the story. So it made it, I think it was an interesting watch. I mean, even the interview when I was swimming, I was like, oh, he's doing really good on the interview.
Oh, no, yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. I think this is definitely just the first part. He's definitely got a bright future ahead of him, and there's more and more stuff. He's getting more and more busy now, too. So
right.
with traveling and everything, everybody's wanting to book him now.
Because, that thing's already 40 minutes long. You really don't want something over 80 minutes long. So if you can basically say, hey, this is only 20% of really what I think we should be covering and 20% of the footage, then you can imagine how much more sort of like complex it can get if you're adding in another 80% more footage over the next 3-4 years. So I would stick with it. Cause I think you could have something that would be, legitimate sort of like, film festival, South by Southwest kind of, cause people are interested in wrestling, dude. People are definitely interested in that. You see these movies come out. So hopefully he's getting some more people when he's over in England and stuff to just gather footage. He just needs to collect the footage, by the way. There's always cameras. There's cameras everywhere. So.
Yeah. And then I in my very limited spare time, I do shoot some of the local wrestling here. And he actually, wrestles at some of these. So I'm always getting new footage myself of him too when I'm not traveling with him, because he's, he still wrestles locally as well.
Yeah. And if you ever see like great crowds or some great character screaming or whatever, just grab all those shots when you're out at these things. Get more audience shots and more cutaways and stuff like that, because that's the kind of stuff that you can cut in and flavor up the movie, the larger, bigger movie as you start to put it together over the next few years. Not to saying you have to put anything more together, but I'm saying you've already got quite a bit of material there. I would keep working at it to build it up to something that's a true feature, true feature length.
Exactly. Now, did you watch the one thing I did with the credits was I did have something playing mostly throughout the credits.
You did, yeah.
Don't know if you.
I didn't watch the whole credits.
And then,
though. Once I got to the main part where it said they went out of business, and then Kevin went to England, and blah blah blah. Then I can't.
Oh, well, see, you missed the remaining 3.5 minutes. There's footage throughout the entire credits.
I think it would have changed my entire life. You're right. I got to go back. It would have changed my entire life.
Exactly. And then there's a little snippet that I put at the very end after the credits where basically Kevin was talking about people bootlegging his movie, and his message to those people who were bootlegging, which is pretty funny. But yeah. I've got a ton of footage that has, I haven't done anything with yet. I mean, from him being sent to promote his an upcoming match he had, they sent him to some convenience store where they had him situated in the beer aisle right next to the smoking pipes and porn magazines, to sell all age tickets to a wrestling event. It's just there's some funny stuff that I still haven't put in there, but definitely that could go in there.
Wonder why C4W went out of business. Let me think. Let me think about their sales tactics here. Okay, yeah, it seemed like they really understood how to market themselves. Sounds good. Sounds like they nailed it. Wonder why they went bankrupt. So, and how was Atlanta, man? So how was Atlanta?
Atlanta was amazing. Got a lot of interviews while I was down there, and I also had some amazing life experiences in a non-amazing way.
So you had amazing life experiences in non-amazing
ways. Yes.
Explain that.
So basically, I'm sure anybody familiar with the South or anything knows about Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in Atlanta.
No, look, there's a Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in every city. Don't act like
there
Atlanta
is
special.
But Atlanta is supposedly one of the worst and most violent of those roads.
And that says a lot because they're always the worst, as Chris Rock says and he points out. I mean, you need to go find a county court. You need to find your county court, your local court. It's usually on Martin Luther King Boulevard. You know what I mean? It's like, what the heck is that about? Oh.
Exactly. Well,
or doctor.
Usually when.
By the way, like if you're in a nice place, they will give you the full title, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Not MLK. Some of them will be like MLK Boulevard. That's not respect. Up here we have Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard, Junior Boulevard, not Boulevard Junior. That'd be funny. I can see a sign maker saying, "Oh, it's Martin Luther King Boulevard Junior." It's like just a side street. So go ahead. You were there. You were at the you were at the worst.
When
of the
I
worst.
don't get when I don't get paid, like when they don't supply a hotel for some of these things, I generally don't like spending a lot of money on staying in a hotel, so I usually do try to stay at the most cheapest ghetto places because I just hate wasting money on hotel rooms.
Okay.
Because I'm only there for 4 hours and that's to sleep anyway, so what do I care? As long as it has a bed, that's all that matters to me. So I stayed in this place that was it was called the Howard Johnson near Six Flags of America or of Georgia, and first off, it was really run down and in disrepair. So we go in. It has the nicest staff I've ever actually dealt with at any hotel.
Crack motel. It had the nicest staff that I've ever dealt with at any crack motel. They were just
so me and the person that we were traveling with, or that I was traveled with, we were waiting for the elevator to get down, and it took it about 10 minutes to go down six floors, which is really, really bad since nobody was on it. So we're just like, geez, this is taking forever. And there's a housekeeping station right next to the elevator. And apparently there was a housekeeper, one of the male cleaners in there. So he heard us talking about it. So when the elevator finally came down, we got in the car and he came in and he starts apologizing to us. He's like, look, I'm really sorry. We're starting to work on repairing these and making the hotel better, but this isn't in the greatest area. He's like, if you stay inside your hotel room, you have nothing to worry about. Or if you need to leave, make sure you go to where you need to go and then straight back. He was like, there's really nothing bad that happens around this hotel. You just got to look out for the hose and the smell of weed. And so,
I apologize.
I started to
I apologize for the condition of the hotel. We are hard at work to make all these repairs and exchanges. There's really nothing you need to worry about. Just stay away from the hose and the pimps and the cracks and the drugs and the muggers. And that's it. Just keep an eye out on that. And with that, it's 11 o'clock. We're going to get 11 gongs here. So he told you to stay away from what? Go ahead, list them.
He told me to stay away from the hose the smell of weed.
The weed.
And so I was just gonna be like,
crackhead.
It already the whole entire building around it smelled like weed.
Stay
So
away.
that didn't. At this point, I didn't really care. I was like, well, you know what? I was like, it doesn't really matter. The smell of weed doesn't bother me. And then he gets out to go on his floor to do whatever he needed to do. And he looked at us after I said that, and he was like, oh, so you guys want to buy any weed? And me and Katie, who was with me, we just look at each other and we didn't even know how to respond. Thankfully, at this time, the elevator doors decided to close, so we kind of left him wondering if we were interested or not, and just went straight to our room and kind of locked ourselves in there.
He's got a good line then. So I saw how the whole thing worked. Hey, man, look, we're hard at work fixing these repairs. You just need to stay. Look, nothing bad's going to happen. You just got to stay away from the hose and the smell of weed. All right? Because the smell of weed. The smell of weed. And, oh, no, you don't have to worry about the smell of weed with us. We know the smell of weed. Really now? Well, then if you need to buy weed, let me know. No, look, hose don't bother me. Well, let me know, man. I'll hook you up with a hoe then. It's all fine. You just look. Nothing happens here, but just beware. Stay away from that smell of crack, because that's bad news. Oh, no, don't worry about that. I'm not going to get bothered by the smell of crack. Really now? Well, let me know if you need me to get you any crack. I'll get you some crack. So really, he was just a weed dealer, basically, but he wanted to come out. He came out with a really soft sell of just be careful now. Just stay away from that smell of weed, okay? Because that could mean trouble. Oh, no, trust me. Weed doesn't bother me. Really now? Well, I can get you some weed if you need. You want to buy some weed? I got some right here. So he literally had weed with him probably.
He's just waiting. Yeah, apparently the staff there was trying to take care of every need of their guests. Yeah. If their guests happen to need weed.
One time when I was I was really quick. I was 17 years old. And one of the first times I went out of the country by myself, and I'm in a cab, and I asked the cab driver if he could, if he knew where I could get weed, right? And so he said, oh, yeah, man, I'll take you to go get the weed. And we drove for 15 minutes, dude, 20 minutes, and it was windy. We're in some weird neighborhood. We finally get to this cul-de-sac. He gets out. I'm like, well, where the hell am I, right? And he just goes back in his trunk. And it was down inside the spare tire. He just had the whole thing was filled with weed, right? Bags of weed. And so he gave me the weed. So the whole time I thought he was driving me to a place to go get weed, and he was just trying to get some weird out of the way place so he could get the weed out of his car. So he was the weed dealer. It's so funny.
And then oh gosh, there was another story that apparently the Waffle House wasn't very friendly. Surprise at the
Hey, you watch your mouth. You watch your mouth. The Waffle House is always friendly. It's the Waffle House.
So
come on.
We were the only people in there, and
what time is
they
this?
weren't. This was about 10:30 at night.
How is a Waffle House empty at 10:30 at night? You know why it's empty?
Exactly.
Because it's not 3 a.m. It ain't 3 a.m. Go to a Waffle House at 3 a.m. and it's full of tons of people, man. Tons of people that want waffles. Waffles for some reason because they're hungry for waffles. You know what I'm saying?
Well, all the waiters and waitresses like spent their entire time ignoring us, and just sitting down on their phones and everything, not asking for refills or anything.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, it's time for a little bit of payback.
Oh, what'd you do?
So I went in my pocket and I got a crap load of ones out, and I made sure I paid for my dinner first, and then I went over to their the jukebox, and I proceeded to do. I put Tom Jones' "What's New Pussycat" on 8 times, followed by an intermission of the Macarena, and then another
times?
7 more times of "What's New Pussycat."
And
then
the Macarena 10 times would have just been even worse. I mean, that's really bad. But go ahead. For what? What happened after?
And then four times of Aqua's Barbie Girl. To cap it all off.
Oh.
And the horrible thing about What's New Pussycat is just the way it ends and the way it begins. It just seems like one big, long run-on song.
Right.
And
so did you get to enjoy? Did you get to enjoy any of the music coming out of there?
Oh well, I stayed for 3 of the loops of What's New Pussycat, and they were already very agitated by that point. But I wanted to see what would happen if we left. So we got in my car and drove across the street to a gas station. And we were just sitting over there watching what they were doing. By what I'm assuming was probably the 5th or 6th time of the song. They're over there. I can see they're at the jukebox. They're trying to figure out how to turn it off, how to unplug it, or do anything so they don't have to listen to that song anymore. And apparently they couldn't figure it out, and they gave up. And then it seemed like, I guess this would be around the time the Macarena was playing, because they seemed a little bit less aggravated. And then 2 or 3 minutes later, they were really agitated again when "Let's Do Pussycat" came back on.
Oh, thank God! That's hilarious. Like, who gets thankful that the Macarena came on? Oh, thank God, it's the Macarena. Oh no. Damn it, it's back. It's back, that hell song. I should have offered him. You should have offered me a goddamn refill. A refill. I wish
exactly.
The moment you should have timed it out and said, okay, I'm going to wait like 15 minutes, and that song should just be coming on again, and I'll come in and just see if they give me change for quarters to put more money in the machines. Or just to go back and you're just walking in to put another dollar bill in there and just watch what they would say then. But I like that they couldn't. I mean, yeah, they were trying to figure out how to unplug it, and thank goodness they couldn't. But so how much was one song? Was one song a whole $1, or would you get like 4 songs for $1?
It was like 6 songs for $1.
Oh, geez, that's a good deal. Yeah.
And yeah, I just kept hitting the "What's New Pussycat" over and over and over again.
Well, that's good. And so, okay, so let's go to let's go to the convention. Did you interview Bill Moseley? You got to Bill, right?
I did get the bill.
Good.
And he said, hey, and he had a message for you that I'll let you hear during the interview. And then I got to interview Sid Haig,
yeah,
Tony Todd,
yeah,
Tyler Main.
Yeah.
I got
a lot of good ones.
I got the entire female cast of the Strip Club Massacre, plus the people working on it, like the crew, like the writers and director and stuff.
Were they naked? Were they naked at all? Were the girls naked? I mean, come on, Strip Club Massacre.
They were not naked, but they were pretty well dressed.
If you told me that the Strip Club Massacre cast was going to be there just by name alone, I probably would have just definitely tried to make it down there, but I don't think it was going to happen. But someday. But these were all good interviews, right? I mean,
interestingly
the
enough,
Candyman
yes,
gave you a good interview. Moseley, Dr. Spalding gave you a good interview, right? You got some good stuff.
Yes, I think next week we're going to go ahead and do the Tony Todd one.
Great.
I mean, some of these interviews were really, really good. I mean, like 10, 15 minutes. The only negative experience I had, I mean, the con was amazing as well. The only negative experience I had was with China, your lovely former co-star.
All right. Well, that was a great show, right, Creech?
Yes, and there will be plenty more next week. I feel like I was saying, we definitely are going to have the Tony Todd interview next week, and we're talking everything from practical effects to his time on Candyman to working on the hit show, the second season of The Flash. So
That's awesome.
Pretty amazing.
That's great. I can't wait to hear it next week. But for now, we are done. I'm all chatted out. I think I've talked too much, and I got to get on Craigslist right now and go look for things that are being left at people's curbs for free. # free. Good night.
Good night, America and the world.
All right, and let's have a moment of silence for your car that has been deceased. Best wishes for your new car. Hope it works out, buddy.
Shut up and sit down.
Thank you for listening to the Dave and Creech Show. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Dave and CJ. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of Creech Creative Productions or any of its affiliates.